Former Mayor Richard Rutkowski, thank you for joining the Bayonne Public Advocate for this interview, and welcome.
My pleasure.
You're hoping to be the next mayor at a time when the city may be facing some tough fiscal decisions, which you've spoken about. Do you think that you're prepared to be the bad guy and make some of the tough cuts that are necessary to save the city?
Yes, I am, because of my prior experience as mayor. I made those cuts. I privatized the recycling program back in 1991, where I went down to the garage myself personally and told 30 men they're being laid off. And I saved $1 million, that alone. Also, with the police and fire departments, I reorganized both departments. I reduced the deputy chiefs from 3 to 2, captains from 10 to 7, lieutenants from 17 to 10. The current mayor and the director, Mark Smith, more or less raised them. The captains from 7 to 17, lieutenants from 10 to 14, and the chiefs from 2 to 3.
Right.
Which caused a basically an increase in taxes of almost $2 million. So I have the ability, I have the leadership and experience to do the cuts that are necessary. And I'll eliminate all political patronage.
Do you know, speaking of cuts, and you bring up a point about $2 million saving, do you know what the total current city budget is right now that we're dealing with?
Approximately $120 million.
Yeah, but that including the Board of Education, right?
No.
No, that doesn't include, sorry, the Board of Education is another additional 90 million, I believe?
Whatever that may be.
Yeah.
But the money to be raised by taxation is within the city, and actually the city raises the money for the Board of Education.
Right. In the past we've heard about tax stabilization, but taxes are never actually reduced. Can a city budget ever be reduced, or do we just get stabilized?
Right now it'd be hard to even stabilize taxes. My goal would be to stabilize taxes. Some of the candidates are talking about reducing taxes, which I think are a possibility. The reason I say that, there's a $30 million deficit in the budget from the prior years. And even including this year, there's a $6 million budget deficit carryover from last year. So I don't know how that can be addressed unless the MOT is sold and the money used to take care of the $6 million or $30 million total. Otherwise, there's going to be a tax increase. So as I stated, the other candidate, one candidate in particular, is saying it's a tax decrease. I don't see how he can do that.
Right. Public education in Bayonne is the largest outlay of property taxes at approximately 50%, maybe a little less.
Right.
The average cost to the taxpayer is over $3,700 per, if you averaged it out. So the average cost to the taxpayer is over $3,700 per.
About $10,000 a student.
There are at least 2 elementary schools that are failing to achieve one or more annual yearly performance indicators, and the high school SAT scores are well below the state average. What steps would you take towards improving academics while staying the cost to taxpayers?
Well, first of all, I'd go into every school, talk to the parents, the PTO presidents of the PTO, even the teachers, and see what is necessary. Right now, I believe they have a vice principal in every grammar school.
Right.
And I don't think a vice principal is necessary in a grammar school. So these are the things that can be cut expenses and hopefully use the money for better education for the students.
Another large issue impacting our budget is debt, which I know you know something about. Are you aware of the total amount of bonded debt that the city carries now?
Well, there again, it all depends what you mean by the net debt. The gross debt, does that include the BLRA, the parking authority, the Board of Education, and the city? If you combine everything, it's about $400 million or so.
Right, yeah, that's a big number.
Right, so even if the MOT is sold, and depending on the amount of money you receive for the sale of the property from different entities, you may not even cover the debt retirement.
Yeah, and then when we spoke about ways to lower the city budget, and one of the complications becomes how do we accomplish that when one of the light items on the budget is about $18 million that we're paying in just interest payments to that bonded debt.
Well, that goes back to the BLRA.
Right.
Yeah. Without that, it's going to always be there.
Right.
And that'd be a problem, that gap, that $30 million gap, unless you raise taxes or reduce expenses, or a combination of the two, without that bonding, you're going to have a problem.
So just stay on that subject for a second. You see our way out of that debt as the base and doing and selling off those pieces of land there really is a possibility of getting out of our debt.
That's the only way.
That's the only way. Okay. This question.
Well, let me say this: there are other pieces of property within the confines of the city, but not as large as the MOT to bring in necessary money to retire the debt.
Okay. This next question comes from a member of the Bayonne.net web board community. It's actually one of the oldest web board communities in Bayonne. Joe Cimento has run that board for many years. Bernie Gollum, a member, writes, let's assume it is a given that no mayor by himself can reduce even the highest property taxes in this country. So the only course may be to bring in more ratables that do not require more spending so the average taxes may go down. What plans do you have to help spur more building in Bayonne?
Well, it would have to be basically with the MOT and try to bring in non-polluting corporations, high-tech corporations, office buildings,
right.
Hotels, anything that would not require more services from the city, such as schools,
right.
more teachers, and even with that, even less police or firemen as opposed to having residential areas.
So we should target commercial and industrial and bring those in?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of the frustrations of many non-politically connected people in Bayonne, such as myself, is that it's difficult to become more involved in the civic process and have a positive impact on the community. Would you make a promise to the public that you would replace the existing board members on the various city boards, such as the Board of Education or the VLRA, with people who are unconnected to any local politicians, or are not business associates, or who do not currently hold jobs in city agencies or with the city itself? In short, would you encourage honest, concerned citizens, such as the people that are involved with the Bayonne Public Advocate, to have a greater role in Bayonne?
I did that when I was mayor. I didn't care who you were or what connections you had or did not have. I tried to appoint the most qualified people to the different boards. Now going back even to the BRA and the Parking Authority, the Municipal Utilities Authority, I think they should be under the direction and control of the mayor.
Right.
So if we can get the bonding taken care of, the money from the MOT, pay off the bonds and have them as different departments or under the current departments and save a lot of money. Sure. But as far as your original question, yes, I think the best qualified people should be appointed no matter what backgrounds they have.
Okay. For the first time in Bayonne politics, the internet's become a campaigning tool. I know I've seen your website up, which is a very nice website. Unfortunately, the tone of the conversations occurring on some of the internet discussion boards has turned towards the negative. I don't think I've seen your campaign having any surrogates on those boards, but I know that there do seem to be people speaking for other campaigns. I don't know whether, now they deny that they're speaking directly on behalf of them, but what's your thoughts on that and the very negative tone that's happening?
First of all, if you followed my campaign with all my literature, the ads have been all positive.
Right.
So as far as internet goes, it has the good points and the bad points. And I think the bad points are what you're talking about, the negative campaigning. In most cases, you don't know where or who is putting that out on the internet.
Right.
So I don't approve of that. Some of the commercials, we call them commercials on the internet,
yes.
They're very negative against different candidates, and my internet has nothing of that nature.